Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday night. I am having a good night myself. I just turned a grandma a few days ago. I turned a grandma on Wednesday of last week. My dad turned 68 today, so I've called and congratulated him, and no other really major events. So let me go ahead and share with you what the topic of today's discussion is going to be based on what I was inspired on by what I've previously read in the Bible, but also sometimes because it's hard for me to really dedicate, uh, like time and space to reading anything, and it's, I guess, consecutive order. It's funner to just flip and see what I read. A lot of times it does correlate with other passages in the Bible from different books and that sort of thing. So today what I wanted to do was I wanted to start with talking about, because there's so much going on with how like I feel bad right now because I feel like the Biden administration is doing so bad, like they're doing so crummy. And at the same time I feel like, but that's like, if I feel that way, that's the only feeling that's gonna get me to actually give him a chance again, like after every failure, you know? So it's almost like either he knows exactly what he's doing or he doesn't know what he's doing at all. And either way, it's kind of like, okay, so either you know exactly what you're doing and you want everybody to just like pity you, or you don't know what you're doing and you want everybody to pity you. Kind of. Okay. But either way, I'm gonna have to. Oh my god, I love it when I don't sleep because for 2 days, 2 days. Wow. Okay, so let me. Jeez, what's gotten into me? So actually, I was gonna go and see if I can find something that was more along the lines of certain like different events happening right now. I just felt like this like convergence come over me, like there's like something happening right now, like God is speaking to me, or God is speaking to the world and I'm listening, and what exactly is going on. So I came and I wanted to look in Revelation, but I opened my my Bible, and I landed on, I'm just like, having a glass of wine, and landed on Jude 1. I was looking on the left side of the page, and I started reading, oh, the false teachers. Okay, you read it through. Okay, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, 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 yeah. Like the if you you can't necessarily have anybody, you can't have a serious constitution, even a serious, you can't have a serious government, you can't have any constitution that that governs your society without it being something that's very unbiased, that's and that is rather very independent, that is not somebody that not something where people are going to be assuming um like a self-proclaimed authority all for themselves and that sort of thing. So it's sort of like God. I don't really care if he's into, like, I mean, I don't think he's into the particulars of how we decide to organize ourselves as long as when we organize ourselves, we sort of like learn from him. Well, he came and taught that we shouldn't be doing, we should be, cautious of people that do certain things. And and what comes to mind, of course, is Nancy, or like Chuck Schumer. uh AOC is like pathetic because she's like under their wing, but she's like a little nothing. That's like, you're like, hopefully by you know having her either my words and criticism towards her are going to make her reflect and humble, or they're going to make her be like full on force, Nancy on steroids, like Nancy to the fucking power of like eternity. Like it'll just go on with this, because who's stopping her, and what's stopping what's going on right now in the government. Anyway, so that was as I'm looking through this and I'm thinking, I'm like, yes, like this is what's going on. But I do it also because when I speak in an authoritative voice about my interpretation of what's in the Bible, I mean it in a way that I don't I like I want to welcome people's um either in suggestions and remarks, corrections, and that sort of thing. Like if there's any edits, um, you know, I'm free to explore it. Obviously, I'm always going to be right, you know. Duh. Okay, so I actually in my I started to read this, and I read through like most of it, but I'm only going to read the important part that I thought is really what's going to hit home, I think, to like the core of the real issues right now, like the most like prominent issue right now, and that's going to be verse 24, again, Jude 1, and it's the doxology, and it goes like this: to the one who is able to keep you from stumbling and to present you unblemished and exultant in the presence of his glory, to the only God, our Savior, through Jesus Christ our Lord, be glory, majesty, power, and authority from ages past, now, and for the ages to come. Amen. And it occurred to me, it'd be nice to be a little bit more of an evangelist, because my demons, I mean, they just I don't want to care for my demons too much sometimes. It's like, don't you have a mother? Like to me, because I guess I was they might have a mother. No, I mean, like Satan's really scary, but he's not that scary. Well, he's scary when you first meet him, because he's gonna like try. But you know what it is too is if you have faith, is that God scares Satan like 100% more. Like like, wait a second, God's on my side. You're a punk, and then you got it from there. So don't be afraid. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, Satan and God intertwine, because like Satan wants to be God so bad. Like that's like the classic tale of the Jimmy, like the Jiminy Cricket, like a good angel, bad angel, whatever. Um, and then you're always constantly having to have to fight between the two and choose the right one, and you don't know what it is, but that's why it's so tricky, because you also have to tell yourself materialism is bad. Materialism out of thin air, that it is going to put you into a war with other people, because you're being unfair, you're being greedy, you're being like that sort of thing. But you're only doing it because your conscience told you formed your conscience the wrong way. If you form it the right way, then you're going to be more successful at making sure that you're happy, because you're not going to cross anybody, and it's should be a happy ending. If it's not a happy ending, then at least you have the moral authority, and then you can actually come in and do something about it. Otherwise it's just more like you become more like and animals, like animalistic. Either okay, so this passage at the very end. Oh, and that's, I think, where I had started in my first message, and then I was looking for like, wait a second, where is it? Like the horror of Babylon. I'm like obsessed with the horror of Babylon, the horror of Babylon, because I throw around the word horror a lot, and It probably has something to do with the fact that, um, if you couldn't have had kids out of wed like, of course you could, but I mean, it was like I was a child and I was innocent, and I always thought that having sex was really, really bad for a very, very long time, and I wanted to stay a virgin for as long as I could, and I don't have, promiscuous sex now. It's kind of like it's ingrained in my brain, and that's a good thing, because of other things like, like sexual transmitted diseases, etc. But also, just the fact that people like want to like so back to the whoredom thing. So this is more about, also doing things that are just like out of convenience for yourself. Like this is convenient for me right now, and if it's convenient for me, it's going to be convenient for everybody else. And because I said so, and it's kind of like, well, um, we get that, princess, but it's just not going to work. It's not going to happen because people actually do want to have a more substantive, set of morals, and develop a brighter mind, and or sharpen their bright mind, I should say. Um, so that's I'm sorry, I keep going back and forth because like just now I had filmed something that I thought was being filmed, and but now I want to jump back to where I was on the doxology about how evangelization is really important, and how it might make sense in your life, like just like with your own, how you choose your own, company and that sort of thing, and how you want to spend your time. But it also has so much to do with being a parent, and there's other passages throughout it. I mean, there's one very important passage in the Gospels about how Jesus really warns you. Like, this is one warning that Jesus does not play with, and he says, "If you do not let a child come to me, you will like there's only like one other passage that I could think of where like it's really like a threat on one against the other, that God would say. I mean, there's poor, like the rich against the poor. There's adults against kids, and then there's I think that's I thought maybe I had another one in my head. So and so with this one, I thought with the family, with how parents must feel like right now, trying to educate their kids with their values, and it must be so difficult because when I was taking my kids to school, is they were still, I'm pretty sure that they were still pledging the allegiance to the flag. I don't even remember. I always assumed it was happening, and I wasn't necessarily as involved. But I don't like, I used to pledge allegiance when I was here in the United States, and when I was in Mexico, I used to pledge allegiance to the flag in Mexico, and that was like that's like perfectly like that's like it makes you feel like when you go visit a different. I really like to use the example of just everyday life and the family unit to the greater society. And when you go to like somebody's home, is you respect their home, and you want to respect their that they are, the man of the house, man and woman of the house, etc. So this is exactly how that was. I don't appreciate the fact that when I was having trouble with my with the with other parent, that it felt like a lot of it was really coming from like a more like a institution, and so And I don't have a problem with institutions. I never did have a problem with institutions. So I feel like it's kind of new that there's this like ugly force that's like trying to use an institution to break another one. Like, well, I'm going to use this institute, so now I had like the family law court, or there's always like some other interest, and it gets more. It at the end of the day is I really don't feel that people that don't feel like teaching and being in service at the same time is, why would we can't expect a nurse or a teacher or anything to have the kind of mentality that they're supposed to have towards the rest of society and the community, unless they have that sort of leadership, and they have that type of leadership only when they're going to be like throwing money at them. And the whole thing is that you're not going to get thrown money at you like for all, like, and it's all going to be for you. It's going to be something that's going to be like thrown at you, but the second that you get too tired is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, whom are like want to keep us all poor and want to just throw money out at us little people, which are basically like more than them by a lot, because there are only three people. um that's and that's how that's going to work. So don't fall for their tricks, don't fall for how they want. And also is, remember, is they are into marketing, and they're into Alexandria Ocasio wants to present herself a certain way, and they do another thing. In the Bible, it also says that these people, these kind of people, is they don't know their left hand from their right hand. They're doing one thing. They don't know how to create